Hello everyone! Today we're going to be talking about my favorite budget-friendly pedal options. Whether you're just getting started on your pedal journey, or if you're looking to expand your board but can't afford all the fancy, bougie, boutique pedals out there, most of these pedals are classics for good reason. These are things you can keep around for your entire lifetime and always have use for. I'm going to do this list kind of in order of how you might set up a pedal board, so from left to right or from input to output. So basically starting from the guitar cable and ending with the cable going out to your amplifier. First up on the list is the Crybaby Wah, the classic wah. Now there's lots of variations of this particular pedal out there, but this is the one that you most likely hear when you think of a wah pedal. You can't go wrong with the classic Crybaby. Coming in at number 2 on my list of favorite pedals is the MXR Dyna Comp. I love it for many reasons. Now, not everybody loves compression, but I think it's really great for getting that spanky clean sound like you'd use for either funk or country licks. David Gilmour used it on the live versions of his Shine On You Crazy Diamond solos. So it can be used to create nice and thick, clean tone solos, or for that spanky chop sound that you hear on funk guitar. Coming in at number 3 on my list of favorite pedals is the MXR BC108 or the Dunlop Jimi Hendrix Fuzz. This is the classic standard silicone fuzz face. It can be used for tons of different things. If you turn down your volume knob, you get some nice killer overdrive tones, or you can have it full on up for nice thick fuzz tones. This fuzz tone can be heard on all kinds of stuff, again with David Gilmour, Jimi Hendrix, and many others. This is a good basic starting point if you want to get started with fuzz. For number 4 on my list, I chose the Big Muff Fuzz. This is by Electro Harmonics. This one's just kind of for fun. You can hear it on everything from Jack White and the White Stripes, lots of shoegaze stuff, psych rock. Again, with David Gilmour, use it for thick, smooth, creamy solos. Or you can just go crazy and just whack out with it. It's lots of fun. Coming in at number 5 on my list, I have a tie between the Boss SD1 and the Ibanez Tube Screamer. Both of these circuits are very similar. The Boss has an asymmetrical clipping circuit and is a little bit more amp-like, a little bit more organic sounding, while the Tube Screamer is symmetrical clipping and has a little bit of a mid-forward sound. Both are great for clean boosting in front of an amp, or if you turn up the drive, you can get a great overdrive sound. Something that's kind of underrated in my opinion. In general, I like to use the SD1 a little more with humbuckers and Marshall amp circuits, whereas the Tube Screamer I tend to favor more with single coils and circuits like a Mesa Boogie amp or a Fender Clean amp. At the end of the day, I really like to have both of these because they're like two non-identical twins, or two sides of the same coin. Both are used for very similar things with just subtle differences that make them both very useful. And they're cheap. If you're enjoying the content of this video, please consider liking the video and subscribing to my channel. It would really help me a lot. Thank you. Coming in at number 6 on my list of favorite pedals is the Wampler Belle. Now I know this one's a little outside the box, but it's the clone of the very popular Nobels ODR1 pedal. There's a good reason why so many studio guitarists have used this pedal circuit. It's like an instant record tone. It's like the perfect mid-gain tone. You'll know it when you hear it, but it's like with the drive up a bit, it's just perfection. The reason I like this one over the actual OD1 is that it has a bass cut knob, so you can adjust to whatever guitar you're using for more or less bass, whereas the OD1 kind of has a very thick bass, and it is basically designed for Telecasters or Stratocasters or single coils. So with this one, you can actually use it with any guitar and just adjust the amount of bass you want to your own taste. I will also add that if you put a clean boost in front of this, like the SD1 on clean boost mode, it sounds absolutely killer when you stack these two together for leads. Coming in at number 7 on my list is the Marshall Shredmaster. Now, why on earth did I pick this one? Well, even though it's the most expensive one on this list, as far as sounding like a real high gain amp and responding the same way, it sounds really great, and it's still a lot less than some of the other options in this category that are above $200, above $300, and it sounds just like a high gain Marshall. And as a bonus tip, if you add a clean boost from either the Boss SD1, my preference, or a Tube Screamer, you can really tighten it up just like a real amp and get that nice heavy chug, that nice metal sound, really super articulate. It's a really underrated pedal and they just reissued it, so try it out. At number 8 on my list, this is where all of the modulation pedals would go. So I have a really good option if you're new to modulation and you don't really know what you want, or if you don't use modulation that much and just need something basic that you can switch around. And that's this FLAMMA modulation pedal that I found on Amazon. It can do all these different modulation sounds, and it actually sounds pretty great for the price. So it's a really great option for just exploring the different modulation sounds and seeing what you like before you buy a bunch of different pedals. It's also great for saving space on your pedal board because it's tiny, and the build quality on it is actually surprisingly quite good. I've been messing around with it on my practice board for a long time, and it does the job and it's fun. But if you do want to get modulation pedals on a budget, I would recommend the Boss CH1 Chorus, the Boss Flanger, the Phase 90 by MXR, the Small Clone by Electro Harmonics, the Small Stone by Electro Harmonics, and there's many more options out there. You can even try the Behringer pedals for not much money. At number 9 on my list for delay is the MXR Carbon Copy. This is just a good old-fashioned analog sounding delay that's hard to mess up. And you can go super crazy with delay, and some of the delay pedals get, up in that $400 to $500 range. But if you're just getting started with delay and want something to try out that's not too complicated, this one's really hard to beat. And I've seen people use this right alongside with their $500 delay units because it sounds so good. And finally, at number 10 on my list of favorite budget-friendly guitar pedals is the Boss RV6 Reverb. All the modes on this sound excellent. It's really hard to mess it up. It sounds good with almost every setting, and you can go in many different directions with it. So for the price, it really can't be beat. It sounds just as good, and it takes up a lot less space on a pedal board than something like a huge Strymon pedal or something like that. So if you're looking for a good reverb, this is one that I highly recommend. Boss pedals in general, I think, are highly underrated. They get overlooked now for all the boutique pedals and stuff like that, but they all sound great. They're solid, they're tanks, they're built to last a lifetime. They're just a solid investment. You can always use them. I'm going to add a bonus pedal here. I know not everybody likes volume pedals, but I really do. I always have one on my pedal board because A, it's a really quick way to mute the sound if you're on stage and you have like noisy pickups, especially if you're using high gain amps or you're using a lot of effects or you're in a room with nasty electricity. I always need to mute my signal, and a volume pedal is a really quick and easy way to do that. It's also great for volume swells. That's something I think are highly underrated. People like to do that with their volume knob too, but when you can control that with your foot, you can get to really micro adjusting and, fine tuning the exact sweep of your volume swells. I've had one since day one and I could never go on stage without one. And I really like the Ernie ball volume pedal. And my last recommendation for basically any slot on this list are the JHS 3 series pedals. I don't have firsthand experience with all of the pedals in this series, but I have a couple of them and they are well built, they sound excellent, and I have no doubt that every single one in this range is a solid purchase. These can be harder to find at your local stores, but they're pretty easy to find online. And they all go for around $100 USD. You could easily build an entire pedal board with just the JHS 3 series pedals. I have no doubt it would be a great board if you did. Thank you for watching this video all the way to the end. If you have any comments about these pedals, leave them down below. I decided not to do sound demos on any of these because I wanted to keep this video short and quick. If you want to hear any sound demos, maybe I'll do one in the future, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to have links to my own music down below. If you like this video, please consider subscribing to my channel and liking this video. It would really help me a lot. And until next time, we'll see you later.